For more perspective on this hurricane, we welcome Matthew Jewell now. He is the president of St. Charles Parish. Welcome. Nice to have you on Prime. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So first of all, what are people bracing for? How are they preparing? And are people listening and preparing properly?
Well, look, yesterday we called a mandatory evacuation for the parish of St. Charles Parish for all areas. That evacuation took effect at 6 a.m. this morning. And I'm glad I did call that evacuation because this latest forecast has this storm about 30 miles east of where it originally was, putting it back closer to St. Charles Parish, and St. Charles Parish getting that the worst part of the storm, which is that northeast quadrant of the eye wall. And we've been preparing since Thursday. We've been deploying HESCO baskets and sandbags out for our residents. We've been checking all of our drainage systems, our pumping stations, just to make sure we're ready to go. But our residents should expect to be without power for a week or even more. And they should expect a lot of interruptions in other services such as water, sewer, and even communications.
And you've been there your whole life, I understand. There must be so much trauma, as we just heard from Marky's story, associated with just the anniversary of Katrina as it is. What stands out to you when you think about that day 16 years ago, all these years later?
You know, obviously it's really emotional when you think about Katrina. We were very fortunate during Katrina that we were on the western side of that storm and didn't receive as much damage, but we were still devastated after Katrina, and just not as bad as our friends and brothers and sisters over in New Orleans and Plaquemines Parish and St. Bernard Parish. But now we're faced with a hurricane on the anniversary of Katrina, where St. Charles Parish is on the bad side of the storm. So that just makes this all the much worse. And that's why we've been heeding and telling residents to get out of St. Charles Parish, get out of the way of the storm, find some other place to ride it out, and then come back afterwards, because this is not a place you're going to want to be when conditions just start to deteriorate in about 12 or 13 hours. Again, we do ask residents get out by about 8:30 p.m. Because after that, you could end up getting stuck on the road. So the time for you to get out is really closing quickly. Otherwise, you're going to have to hunker this one down.
And we do hear people every hurricane, no matter how big it is, who say, I'm just going to have faith and I'm going to stay here and hunker down. And of course, they don't listen to the warnings. Are you worried about those people who are refusing to evacuate and staying behind?
Well, yeah, you have to worry because, you know, the best case scenario is that a storm comes through and that there's no one in the parish to get hurt or get killed. But when you're going to have people who ride them out in old homes, or manufactured homes that aren't really designed to withstand sustained hurricane force winds for hours upon hours. And, you know, the thought of trees toppling over onto a house and possibly killing someone or, greatly injuring someone is very concerning for us. And that's why we take these evacuation orders so seriously. We don't ever want to have to call a mandatory evacuation. It's very inconvenient for a lot of people. But, you know, the possibility of getting hurt or even killed is why we have to make those tough decisions. So, yeah, we do worry and we don't want to have to put our law enforcement or our first responders in any type of situation where they may have to respond in conditions that are unsafe. When really that could have been avoided in the beginning.
Yeah, we all remember those images of the convention center, the Superdome, of people being rescued from their rooftops and their attics in boats. Do you have a place in mind in your parish where people will be gathering and also keeping in mind COVID-19 and the dangers associated with that?
Well, we did assisted evacuations earlier today. And actually physically brought and bussed people over to a off-site shelter in Hammond, Louisiana, which is a shelter where we have a cooperative endeavor agreement to work with them at Hammond High School. So we brought several individuals who didn't have the means to evacuate on their own, but wanted to evacuate to that shelter to out of harm's way. Otherwise, we did have a lot of residents who decided to pack up on their own and leave. And of course, we do know that there are going to be several residents who are going to ride this one out.
Yeah, and when you think about the storm 16 years ago, Katrina, and explaining that to the people who haven't lived through that, how do you explain something like this to kids and to younger family members who haven't experienced it?
You know, it's hard to do, but I think we do a great job in St. Charles Parish in Southeast Louisiana trying to educate our kids very early on about the dangers associated with hurricanes, and we spend as soon as hurricane season ends, it seems like we're always starting then to talk about hurricane prep for the next hurricane season. So, I think our kids and our children understand the dangers associated with hurricane. They teach it in schools. We try to push out information to them. So it's something that I think other kids across the country don't learn about, but we learn about it at a very young age here.
And you mentioned at the top of this interview the danger of being without maybe a sewage system, electricity for a long time, air conditioning. What are you most concerned about in terms of the preparation right now and how you can mitigate whatever the after effects may be? What concerns you the most?
Well, look, there's certain utilities that we don't have any control over, electricity mainly being one of them. So obviously, when you have down power lines and you have, no electricity, and with the oppressive Louisiana heat that we have, the increases of, heat exhaustion and heat stroke increase. Not everybody has a generator that'll power their whole house or has a window unit that they can power off a generator. So we worry about that. Well, obviously, we're worried about those falling trees. We're worried about the potential for storm surge from this storm on the western side of St. Charles Parish and the West Bank and the southern side of St. Charles Parish. So, I mean, it's just all hazards right now that really worry us. And again, that's why we always just err on the side of caution and have our people evacuate.
All right, Matthew Jewell, president of St. Charles Parish, we wish you the best. Our thoughts are with you. Thank you for taking the time for us tonight.
Thank you.